Indie Mogul.
While loved by pretty much anyone who's seen it, the new Star Trek was unable to go where no movie has gone before in box office performance. How close did it get to breaking new ground? Let's find out with some movie math. Unfortunately, it didn't get very close. Star Trek opened at number 1 with 76.5 million, and that includes Thursday night's haul, giving Star Trek the 25th biggest opening weekend in history. It comes in right behind the Da Vinci Code, whose sequel it will have to contend with next weekend. But before you get too bummed out, the good news is that this is by far and away the biggest opening ever for a Star Trek movie. Up until now, the title was held by Star Trek First Contact, which opened with 30.7 million in 1996. I guess the cream does rise to the top, as personally, I'd have to say Star Trek First Contact is the second best Star Trek after this one. But I'll give my own review of Star Trek later in the show. First, let's get to yours. I asked you to rate Star Trek on a 1 to 10, and you gave it a 9, the same score audiences gave it on Friday's Beyond the Trailer. And now for the one-sentence review challenge results. As I mentioned on Friday, all summer long I'll be giving away a free pair of AMC movie tickets to the winner of the week's one-sentence review challenge. And since you guys are really bringing your A game, I'll be showcasing the top 5 each week. So this is the top 5 for Star Trek. Coming in at number 5 is Antoine Bendel on Twitter, who says, a perfect way to open the summer blockbuster, not including Wolverine, and Chris Pine is the new Harrison Ford of our age. And fourth place goes to Sandra Duran on Indie Mogul, who exclaims, the only thing better than this movie would be for it to really happen. And a voice of dissent takes third place as MJ Manning123 says, they're trying to make Star Trek cool, and the great thing about Star Trek is that it's not cool, nor is it meant for mainstream audiences, whose standards have been systematically lowered over the years. But runner-up Deacon Snacks counters, Star Trek is a quintessential breath of fresh air for a series in dire need of one, and with JJ Abrams at the helm, I felt as if I were taken to a galaxy far, far away via the fun and exhilarating starship. And the winner of the 2 free AMC movie tickets is MB207869, who states, Star Trek is a sexy and visually rich redoing of geeky source material which surprisingly works on all levels. And coming in at number 2 for the weekend is X-Men Origins Wolverine with 27 million. Falling 68% from last weekend, we're getting a glimpse of what this summer is going to be like. With a crowded slate of blockbusters, each one better clean up opening weekend if it hopes to survive. And Wolverine did just that, as its 87 million opening last weekend remains the biggest of the year. Sorry, Star Trek fans and Wolverine haters. But in 2 weeks, Wolverine is only up to 129 million, and that means it's losing ground on X-Men The Last Stand. Back in 2006, X-Men The Last Stand also dropped over 60% in its second weekend, but still had already accumulated 175 million. So X-Men The Last Stand will most likely remain the highest grossing X-flick, with X2 probably the second, as Wolverine will have a tough time topping it with all the summer competition. Third place goes to Ghost of Girlfriend's Past, which is showing just the kind of legs Matthew McConaughey likes. Down just 32% from last weekend, Ghost of Girlfriend's Past got away with another 10.4 million, bringing its total so far to 30 million. While not a hot flash at the box office, this romantic comedy could have a slow burn, as it'll have all the ladies to itself until June 5th when My Life in Ruins hits theaters. Although considering that Nia Vardalos' last comedy was such a flop, McConaughey won't have any direct competition until June 19th when Sandra Bullock asks Deadpool to marry her. Man, if only that really were the premise of the proposal. Next Day Air's bid at counter-programming failed as it opened at number 6 with just 4 million. Or did it fail? Now Benny Boom and company can blame Star Trek for their poor showing instead of, just not making a great movie. As for Beyonce, she's got another well-groomed ice princess to contend with, Zac Efron. Thanks to a steeper drop for Obsessed this weekend, it's now running neck and neck with 17 again. So what are the top movies of 2009 so far? Right now it's Monsters vs. Aliens and Fast and Furious, followed by our old friends Paul Blart Mall Cop and Taken. What will the list look like at the end of the summer? We'll just have to wait and see. I saw Star Trek this weekend and I'll tell you all about it after the break.
What happens when you put together one band and one filmmaker to create an original music video for $99? Watch world premiere videos every week at $99musicvideos.com. $99 Music Videos is best experienced with Verizon Fios Internet.
My name's Fraser, and I see movies everywhere. You're watching Indie Mogul.
Yep, I saw Star Trek, and I saw it on IMAX. I had to come an hour and a half early to wait online, and it was packed. I got a pretty good seat, but I felt bad for everyone who had to sit further down. I still don't understand why they have so many seats in IMAX theaters that are, in my opinion, simply unacceptable. But what did I think of the film itself? As a movie-going experience, it cannot be beat. It was simply incredible. And I think the reason for this is that JJ Abrams has lovingly replicated the 1970s and 80s blockbuster, which was, quite frankly, the heyday of the blockbuster. Sitting in the theater, I felt like I was watching a new Star Wars or Indiana Jones, if only the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull had been like this. But I have to say, as I begin to think about it, I believe it's this feeling of nostalgia and not the movie itself that is the driving force behind the fantastic movie-going experience. Now, I'm not saying the movie is bad. Far from it. I cannot recommend strongly enough that everyone should see Star Trek in theaters, especially in IMAX. The space scenes are really done justice on the huge screen and you feel like you're there. But once the adrenaline rush subsides, there are some small problems that become noticeable. For instance, the movie is strongly lacking in the villain department. Eric Bana does a fine job with the role he's given, but he's no Darth Vader. But fear not, there's still a Planet Hoth scene. Chris Pine channels Mark Hamill, although some of you have argued Harrison Ford, and the soundtrack owes a lot to John Williams. Is Star Wars a crutch for this new Star Trek? Yeah, I think it is, with one glaring exception: no Princess Leia. While I found Princess Leia to be a little annoying at times, apparently I shouldn't have taken her for granted. I understand that Abrams is trying to be respectful to the source material, but it's not the 1960s anymore. Sigourney Weaver and Angelina Jolie have proven that female cinematic heroes can not only exist, but thrive. However, in this new Star Trek, women only give birth and wish their men good luck on dangerous missions they can't participate in. And I can't believe that Starfleet actually mandates that all female personnel wear miniskirts and go-go boots. Can you imagine if women in the Navy had to wear skirts and boots on battle carriers? They'd sue. I hope in the sequel we see a woman joining the fun and not just in Kirk's bed. But grievances aside, I still really love this movie and bought the soundtrack. We'll probably see it again in theaters and we'll definitely buy it on Blu-ray. As always, thanks for watching Movie Math, and I'll see you on Friday as Beyond the Trailer covers Angels and Demons. I'm Grace Randolph and we just did some movie math.
Subscribe, comment, rate it.